Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're back on GT Sport and we're back with an FIA Nations highlights video at Interlagos driving these super Formula cars. So if you do enjoy these videos, please take the time to hit that like button and let me know in the comment section how your race at this combination went, and let me know what you thought about the incident in this race when we get there. So in this race, first few races we did in the day, pace was not very good, but eventually started to find a bit of pace. We actually started to get our qualifying a little bit better, not perfect, but we managed to qualify in P5 in this top split FIA Nations race, starting on the right hand side of the grid. So we've got a wide line to enter into the corner, obviously a standing start, which makes these races that little bit more entertaining. So the 4 lights are coming on and we're about to get this way underway. Little traction control on level 1. And the lights are off and we're going to start. So getting a reasonably okay start, not the best. We decided to start this race on the soft tyres. We're going to try and go around the outside. So what I do here is I go very far to the right hand side of the track and we can brake very late then. And we hold a wide line and we actually manage to jump up one spot. Quite a nice little move there. Up into P4 straight away. And we're starting on the soft tyre. So I decided to go the route of the soft tyre. I know it's risky starting from P5 on the softs, but my training thought was that we'll end up getting a little bit further ahead of all the battling. But through here we see that Wheeling goes for a bit of a dive on the inside, and I actually think he was on the medium tech, so he got a bit of understeer, but we wasn't going to give this position of obviously starting on the soft tyre. I did think that Wheeling might be starting on the medium, so on the soft tyre we want to push on and try and get past as many cars that aren't starting on the soft. So in front of us we have a Menti, and at this point I could tell straight away he's on the mediums because of his entry and exit speed and his lack of grip. So up here we decided to go for a bit of a dive up the inside, managed to keep it on the inside, gave him space on the outside, and we pull a nice move off there and we make our way up to P3. So nice move done there, up into P3. I think it was an aggressive move. It was a bit of a dive, but at the start of the race, when you're on soft tyres versus the mediums, I think it was required to get ahead and start working up towards the cars in front of us. So we've also got Will in P1 and Theo in P2, and now I knew that Theo would be on the soft tyres, but it looked like Will was deciding to start this race on the mediums. You can tell by the fact that Theo has overtook Will straight away. I know that Will is very, very fast here. So straight away I know at this point that Will is going to be driving on the medium tyres. So we need to work up behind him and see if we can find a way past as quickly as possible before our soft tyres start to fade in this race. So quite an enjoyable start to the race. We've made our way up to P3 and this was the ideal situation. This is the strategy I wanted to happen, because the plan was, because our pace wasn't as good as we would like at this combination, if we start on the soft tyres, we get ahead of all the battling, and that gives us some clean air just to put lap times in. And when you're doing that, you tend to avoid a lot of the traffic and chaos behind. So if we would have started on mediums, we would have been involved with cars going, side by side, having to use the boost button and stuff like that, and you end up losing a bit of time. As we take a look at the replay camera there, just showing you just how close it is. All 3 cars in the top 3 there, pretty much within 1 second of each other. Some good racing going on here. A little bit of a gap building up behind us now, where obviously the medium runners dropping back a bit, and you can see Will actually doing incredibly fast pace in front of us. Will Murdoch there on the medium tyres is driving extremely well. I was quite surprised how fast he was driving actually on the medium. So we've got the slipstream here. We're not going to be in a position to go for a dive up the inside, even though he is on the mediums. We're just a bit too far back for this braking zone. So we just get as close as we can. You can see the difference in how you can brake into the corners, how much we gained on him there with the medium versus the soft tyres. And now we decided to use some of our boost up, because it made sense to use a bit of that boost up and get the job done here so we can then push on. Now Will is not going to defend this, because it makes no sense for him to be losing overall race pace. And again, this is what I say to people. When it comes to your overall race time, sometimes you have to pick your fights. There's no point Will fighting me on soft tyres, because I'm going to pull away from him anyway here. So if he fights us, he loses time in his race pace. So it makes more sense for him to try and stay in our slipstream and get a bit of benefit on the straights really, and use the soft tyre pace if he possibly can, or just try and hang with it and just think about his overall finishing time, because it will help out in the long run. So into the tight right hand corner here now, and we're starting to get close to Theo there. You can see the gap is around 9/10 of a second, and now it's a battle to see if we can get our way up to the front. Now the thing is, we might be in P2 at this stage, but technically we know we're not actually there, because we had 3 drivers that we know of that have started on the medium tyres. Now Will Murdoch behind us, it's pretty obvious that our fight is not with him. He's going to, by the time he gets on the soft tyres, he's probably going to be way gone. And also a Menti and Wheeling. Wheeling was the car, I think, that sent it up the inside, and a Menti was a little bit ahead of them. So it's all just dependent on when they've pitted and what chaos they've been involved with when they've been on the medium tyres. At this stage, we're driving quite well though. Fastest lap of the race, it wasn't particularly a fast lap that, but you know, it was decent, it was solid enough, and this is what we wanted. Nice clean air. We've got FIA in front that was pretty much identically matched for pace. There wasn't much of a difference between my pace and FIA's pace in this race. So now we're just trying to keep it consistent. You're going to see me using mixture 2 every now and then through the corners as we skip a little bit further on. I was using mixture 2 through some of the corners. You're going to see it, I think, further on, just to help the tyre wear. And also the fuel. You didn't really have to worry about fuel too much, but just a bit of mixture 2 meant you could just push a little bit more on the straights when it came to the fuel saving. So yeah, mixture 2 saved a bit of fuel, also saved them tyres a bit, especially through some of them long fast corners, saved the front tyres as well as the rear tyres. So you can see again, as we've skipped further on in this race, even though we skipped a few laps on, we're pretty much still exactly the same distance behind Theo, around that 1 second mark. So not really gaining on him, the pace has been identical. However, he did seem to be starting to drop off a little bit on lap 6 here. You're going to see, I think what had happened, he had ran his front brake bias on the wrong set and he'd been running -1, and that had started to take a lot of life out of his front tyres, so he was struggling with a bit of grip through some of the faster corners and some of the tighter corners, not getting the rotation on. As you can see here, again, using that mixture 2, and we're starting to get almost into the slipstream now of Theo, so this is getting very, very close. Now, you can't pit on lap 6 because that would be way too soon to pit, but Theo definitely seems to be struggling with a bit of pace. You can see we've got that gap to Will over 2 seconds there, so it kind of made sense for him not to battle that because he's not really dropped off massively, and once he puts them soft tyres on, he's going to be catching us up, and we're probably not going to fight it to him because it's not worth losing time fighting against people that are actually you're not really racing with. So as we go into turn 1, we push through here, fast forward in the action, and you can see that Theo around 9 tenths ahead still. He's staying around that gap, and then as we come through here, you can really see that his front tyres are almost starting to fade off. You can see they're really struggling. He's losing a lot of grip through there, and we're starting to get into that slipstream now as we come to the end of lap 7. So we're picking up the slipstream just about now into that toe, and that's going to help us push on and see if we can stay with him. And this is how you know his tyres are starting to fade, because once we were in his slipstream, even though we had the dirty air, we were able to stay with him and try and keep with him. As we watch that replay camera, looking absolutely brilliant on GT Sport as usual. Insane amount of hype for GT7, I have to say, when it improves on the visuals and everything. I can't wait for that game. So as we come through to the braking zone, you can see just how close this battle is between myself and Theo. It's very, very close. And you can see that he is definitely struggling on the front end for grip. You can see it through the corners. His car is just rolling a little bit off the front and just not really biting into the corners. So that brake bias mistake that he had made was really affecting him at this point as we go through this really the sequence of right-hand corners that really you need that tyre wear for. And you can see we're getting very, very close, putting him under a lot of pressure now within a few tenths of him. And you can see using mixture 3 and 2 there again to try and help while we're in that dirty air. This is a trick that you can do. I remember, I think it was Lightning or someone telling me a long time ago. It helps, not only does it help save your tyres, it actually helps with the front end a bit when you're in a dirty air through sections like that. Just helps you get a bit of traction and grip through the corners. So it's something you can do in these high downforce cars. But you can see Theo running wide there. He's definitely struggling on tyres. My tyres actually felt pretty good at this stage of the race. So I decided there's no point pitting behind him, because if we pit behind him, we're just going to come out behind him and then we're in the dirty air again. And he's got fresh tyres. So the pace was pretty equal with him. We could see that on the early lap. So we skip a lap further on. We stay out and do one more lap, and now into the pits on lap 9. And we're going to put their medium tyres on. So this is going to be interesting. Where are we going to come out in terms of where Theo was? Now Theo went in the pits about 4 or 5 tenths ahead of us, and he's come out about 1.4 1.3 seconds ahead, so he has gained on their mediums, but it's not a massive amount of gain. We've got the fresher tyres now on the mediums, so we've got 1 lap fresher tyres, and you can see that Will now is in our slipstream behind us. So as soon as Will gets to an overtaking position, we are not going to really defend this, because it would be stupid of me to defend for 2 or 3 laps, lose time in my race, and then cost me to battle with other drivers as well. As Will is clearly on the soft tyres now, we're on the mediums, we've both got fresh tyres on, so yeah, it's not really... See, if we fight Will now at this stage and fight him for 2 or 3 laps, all that happens is we both lose time. He'll probably get me eventually anyway, and then cars that are behind Will are going to get closer, so we'd be putting ourselves under more risk of losing more places. So at this stage, you can see Will's got that slipstream. He's working his way up the straight, and he's probably using a bit of boost. I'm not going to defend this, because there is literally no point me defending and just losing time. So I'm going to stay to the right-hand side of the track, I'm not going to change my racing line. Let Will go up the inside. We'll take the normal racing line, brake like normal, tuck in behind Will now, and then we'll just try and stay with him here and then try and get a bit of slipstream assistance on this acceleration zone. So we don't actually technically lose too much in terms of race pace because we're now in that slipstream gaining time. And this is what I class as racecraft, and that's why Will didn't battle with us early on, because we were on the soft tyres and he was on the mediums, and it wasn't worth it for your overall race finishing time. Yeah, we're trying to get a good result out of this. A top 5 or top 6 result in this race was good enough for my day at this track because I was really struggling. So we're in P3 still at the moment. We know there's going to be cars coming through on softer tyres that are going to be battling with us, and now we're just trying to keep it nice and smooth on these mediums and trying to get a solid result out of this race. So through this winding section, you can see Will, so much more grip through there. He's got so much traction, and now he's going to come up to Theo, who might defend against him. I don't really know if Theo's going to battle this too much. It's, you know, everyone's different. Everyone chooses a different strategy. But for me, I just don't like to fight things that aren't worthwhile fighting. So as we come through here, trying to get a nice solid exit, we can see that Whelan is gaining on us in the mirror there. You can see he's gaining. But we're managing to hold him off a little bit. He's not gaining anywhere near as fast as Will did. You can see we're fast forwarding lap, and he's gained a couple of attempts here and there. It's not a massive amount that he's gaining. Again, you can see all the way through this section, he's gaining a couple of attempts. He's now into the slipstream, but he's still a little bit far back. And as we come up here, you can see he's about 4 attempts behind us. We're going to go to the right side of the track because I felt like he was probably a little bit too far behind for a lunge, because we'd probably just end up letting him through anyway. But he did go for a bit of a lunge, and I didn't expect it. Knocks us a bit wide there. We're going to have to take a bit of a weird line through here. And again, he's going to try and obviously go around the outside. Now, I was tempted to defend this at this stage because his tyres, I didn't know how old they were, but as we come through here, you can just see how much extra grip he's got on the soft tyres. So as he goes around the outside there, we down to second gear, and I actually decided to let him go here. I didn't even use my boost. I just I felt like it wasn't worth it. So we stayed to the left-hand side of the track. Used mixture 2 also, just to let him get ahead. So a bit of fuel saving while we let him pass. There was no point battling that one again because he's clearly got the faster car. And he's not really worth trying to get ultra defensive with someone who's going to be pulling away from you anyway. So we're now down to P4. I feel like if we would have battled that, all that would have happened is we would have had Amenti, Jack, and other drivers right behind us at the end of the race. And we don't want that. We want to get a top 5 out of this race. That is the goal of this race. We want to try and get over 300 points and get a nice, solid amount of points for the nation. So final corner there. Nice, solid exit again on the medium. Not driving particularly amazing there as we skip ahead another lap down the road. I think another couple of laps down the road, and you can see that the gap, we've got Amenti now right behind us a few laps further on. We're now on lap 17 out of 20, so we've got 3 or 4 more laps to go in this race. We managed to do some quite solid driving on the medium tyres for 3 or 4 laps then. Nothing really fast, but we were consistent and we're not battling with anyone, and this is what you want. We're now in the position that we can start defending, because at this stage of the race, on the last 3 or 4 laps with mediums versus softs, everything's a little bit more equal because the soft tyres will be fading compared to the mediums a little bit faster, and we've obviously also probably got fairly equal in terms of distance that we've done on these tyres compared to Amenti. So yeah, at this stage now, it's worth fighting the position because you're in the last 3 or 4 laps. You're both on the same strategy, and I 100% will fight this position to try and hold on to a P4. So through here, just trying to concentrate on our lines, and we're actually catching up to Theo again at this point of the race because our fresher tyres are starting to have a bit of an effect, and you can see we're getting a little bit closer. So if we can hold off Amenti behind us and drive clean, we might be able to catch up to Theo. We've got a bit of a bad exit off that corner though, so Amenti is possibly going to get a run. We're going to go to the left hand side of the track just to try and break that slipstream for a few seconds there, and now we're going to go back over to the right hand side of the track because he's just a bit too far behind really to go for a move into the braking zone. So we've got this covered, braking nice and early, get it into the apex, and just try and concentrate on the exit speed as we get a little bit of oversteer there. The rear tyres starting to fade off a bit, so yeah, that was very close. You can see I actually decided to change the brake bias because I felt like the rears were getting a little bit sketchy. So as we look there in the mirror, we also noticed Amenti had a penalty. I think it was only half a second, but it was just enough to drop him off from the rear of our car and just give us that little bit of breathing space that is going to make defending possibly a little bit easier. As we come through here, you can see, again, we're starting to catch up to Theo in front of us, who also in front of him, Whelan, does seem to be fading with pace. So his soft tyres are also fading. So at this stage, you can see that a P3 is possible. However, we've got Amenti coming through, I think, on slightly fresher tyres than what Whelan's got, and he's going to be putting us under a lot of pressure. And you can definitely see there Theo through that corner, almost losing control. So we're gaining a couple of attempts on him a lap at this stage, and we've only got a couple of laps to go. If we could get in the slipstream, we might be able to put up a fight with him, but he does seem to still have pretty solid pace. But now we have Amenti in that slipstream behind us. You can see him in the mirror in the top right hand corner. You can see him also on the replay camera. He's getting very, very close. Again, I didn't feel the need to go really ultra defensive here. We just take our normal racing line. He actually gives us a little nudge in the braking zone there, and luckily it didn't push us wide. We managed to hold on to the position, and luckily he didn't try and do an overtake after pushing that, but he is going to try and get a run on us now on the straight. He's got the slipstream. He's going to go to the right hand side of the track. We've still got the inside. He does a fake, but he doesn't really do any move there. We just keep the car nice and straight. We don't do a little fake defense or anything. We just keep the line, and we manage to hold on to this P4. So this is getting really, really super intense at this stage of the race, and this was a really enjoyable race. I do enjoy races like this. At the moment, it's all clean. It's all fair. Nothing's really... There was a little nudge in the braking zone that pushed us a bit there, but he didn't carry it on and try and get past us at that stage, so it's all good. So as we carry on up here, we go into the next braking zone again, just trying to get the car into the apex and then give ourselves a smooth exit. So yeah, really nice on the throttle there, giving ourselves nice traction out the corner. And the medium tyres are definitely okay, and now we're starting to lose a little bit of pace to feel as we're starting to have to defend against the Amenti behind us. So this, I think the battle for P3 was pretty much over once we had to start defending with Amenti behind us. Now we've got a tiny bit of boost left. You can see we've got just enough boost for one little dab of the boost button. That is all we got, and we decided to use it there to see if we could hold the inside line on this corner. As we go down the inside, and again, that little dab of boost has managed us to hold the inside. And obviously our tyres are probably equal in a way to the cars behind for braking, because his soft tyres will be fading on the front tyres. But as we come around here, Amenti clearly has some boost left. He uses it to go around the outside, and he actually has enough to cut back across the track. But I see him cut back. We go over to the right hand side because I see the cut back, and we do a lovely undercut move there on the inside and put ourselves back up to P4. So we really caught Amenti by surprise there with that move, and a really nicely done move to put ourselves back up for P4. Now he's got the dirty air behind us, and he's dropped back quite a big way there. You see 3 tenths behind, and then as we come through here, he just decides to push us out the way, and he actually cuts the corner when he does the move. And Gran Turismo dishes out some instant karma with the penalty system. A 1 second penalty because he cut the corner while he tried to do an overtake. So yeah, not the wisest move there by Amenti, but all we have to do now is stay within 1 second of him to get that P4. Now I feel that move was a little bit, you can't go over the grass to make an overtake. You have to do your overtakes on the track, and he clearly didn't do that. That's why he's got a 1 second penalty, and we managed to stay within 1 second of him, got the slipstream and over the line, and we're going to take that P4 back off him because it was an illegal overtake. He cut the corner, and yeah, we managed to get P4 in the race. So Amenti, maybe he was a bit annoyed by that undercut that we did. I felt like the undercut was fair. It felt fair. It felt like a good move, but yeah, we managed to take that position off him. Okay, so let's have a little look at this move that Amenti did. Now, he did it really well to get around the outside there and then cut back to the inside. However, he braked a little bit too late. We saw that happen. Go wide, cut back on the inside, give him the space on the exit. We gave him plenty of space there, and we managed to get ourselves back up into P4. It was a really nicely worked move there. And as we come through here, Amenti's getting that dirty air with them worn tyres, and he actually runs a little bit slow through there, but then he just decides to absolutely send it over the grass, picks up a 1 second penalty. And yeah, a little bit of instant karma for Amenti there. I don't think it was a deliberately dirty move, but it was a bit of a silly one. But we come away with 337 points and very happy with that result. So if you did enjoy this race, let me know in the comment section how your race went, how you enjoyed this race, and hit that thumbs up. It really does help the channel, and subscribe. That also does help the channel massively. Thanks again for watching, everyone. I will see you all soon.